What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I am bringing you an update to Generators. Now it's taken me a while to pick up these, mainly the brand new Boss of Shadows, which is insanely good for the deck, as it got 2 new cards from Photon Hypernova, as you can see here. So, I'm going to take you through the profile, show you a different kind of routes and how this is being played, and kind of introduce you to some spicy techs that are being utilised in order to kind of make this as competitive as it possibly can be. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So, we're going to start off with the main deck, and we're going to start off with 3 of Valor. This is the brand new card that we received in Photon Hypernova. So this card is the one that's really kind of taken the deck up another notch. So you can only control one of it, which is the same as all of the Generator main deck bosses, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is in the hand or graveyard, you can send one other Generator card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon a Generator monster from your hand or graveyard except herself. So she's a way of giving you a turn 1 rank 9 play, because straight away, for example, use her effect, send any other level 9 Generator from your hand to the graveyard, summon her down, use her effect to revive the level 9 you've just discarded, wham, bam, thank you ma'am, you've got straight into your brand new rank 9. If that wasn't enough, the fact that this is fairy is really, really important for a card we play later on in the deck and utilises it to its max potential. On top of that as well, if she doesn't bring back a level 9, she still has the option to bring back Lopta as well. So again, you can only control 1 Lopta. All Generator monsters you control gain 1,000 attacks. So keep that in mind, that straight away your Valor is on to a 3,500 main deck boss. What is that? On top of that as well, during your opponent's turn only. So during your main phase quick effect, you get to tribute 1 Generator monster, special on 1 level 9 monster from your deck with a different name. So again, straight away, Valor, send this, effect revives Lopta, Lopta's effect tribute off, bring out the next one we're playing, and that is of course Ha. So Ha is your negator, Ha is your protector. Again, you can only control 1 Ha. And then once per turn, if your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to the hand except during the draw phase, you can, quick effect, make your opponent send 1 monster from their hand or field to the graveyard, their choice. When a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you get to tribute 2 Generators and or spellcaster monsters to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, for those of you that don't know what Generators do, it all revolves around their field spell, and that is, of course, Boss Stage. And what this does is during your opponent's turn, it spawns your board with tokens, and it also does allow you to summon out a Generator from the deck. So the best thing about that is you can set up the negate from it. You do put yourself instantly in Nibiru territory though, ironically during your opponent's turn, but it still gives you an incredible board presence, and you can start using the tokens as tribute fodder in order to kind of trigger all of the additional effects. That's why Valor is so good, is the fact that she doesn't need to tribute off the tokens. It just sends another, and then you get to revive that card anyway if you send one of the monsters. We've then got 1 Mardell. So Mardell is basically your spell searcher. So if it is normal or special, you get to add a Generator card or plant monster from the deck to the hand. Hela is the boss of Doom. You can only control 1 Hela, and it has a quick effect to tribute a Generator monster or a zombie monster. Target a Generator monster or 1 zombie monster in your graveyard with a different name from the one you just tributed, and then you get to special summon it in defense. So again, it's a way of being able to bring back the cards from the graveyard. It's less reliant, which is why we're only playing 1 of it, and in past versions we were playing 2 of it, but you can really only need to run 1. We've got the then Generator Boss of Delusion. So this is your aggressor, and what I mean by that is it has a quick effect to tribute 2 Generator monsters and or rock monsters, target a card on the field and banish it. Your other option is the Frody, which is your Boss of Swords, and this one lets you tribute any number of Generator monsters and or warrior monsters, target that many monsters on the field, destroy them, and then your opponent can draw cards equal to the number destroyed. So, like, you don't always want to be destroying it, which is why Delusion kind of takes its spot, but there are ways to kind of play around it. And then we've got the Midhog. The Midhog is, of course, your Generator Boss of Ice. This one has the ability as a quick effect to tribute a Generator monster or a worm monster to negate the summon. Now, keep in mind as well, this is only going to activate on inherent summons, so it doesn't work on stuff like if they activate a polymerization or anything like that. That's triggering or negating the spell effect, which this can't do, but it can negate like a summon of like a Tenyi or something along that. Now the Generators we are not playing, just so you know the other ones that are available to you, should you want to be like, you know what, I want to just play 100% pure Generator because it looks fun as heck, is the Boss of Iron. and the Boss of Fire. These are not included in the deck, these are just other alternatives. So the Boss of Iron has the quick effect to tribute any number of generators and then special summon from the hand in defense that many generator monsters with different names. And the Boss of Fire has the ability that if a card or cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to destroy a generator monster or a beast warrior monster instead. So you've got protection and you've got spawn from the hand, but you really don't need them anymore. These are pretty much what you're rocking and rolling. The final two level 9s we play that might as well be honorary generators is the one Trius and the one Nightmare Incarnation Ibli. Now Trius is really, really cool because it gets utilized with the ability of Diviner of the Herald. So during the main phase, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, tribute up to 3 fairy monsters, which your tokens are, and these are going to spawn the board. Tribute them, and then you get to apply the following effects in sequence. So if you tributed 2, you get to non-target destroy 1 card your opponent controls. If you tributed 3, you get to non-target destroy and draw 2 cards. So it's really, really cool with the fact that you can get double the effects. And the idea is that through playing the Diviner of Herald, you send this to the graveyard, you've got instant access to a level 10 synchro, and then you have the ability during your opponent's turn, when you spawn your tokens, not only will you set yourself up with a negate with the form of like Baron de Fleur, plus a Ha, but then you also have the ability of activating the Trius to get rid of the tokens, to give you draw power and pop power, and that's one way of being able to kind of play around and evenly matched. Because that's the one weakness of the deck like this, is if you're going to be spawning tokens, under evenly matched, tokens cannot be banished face down, so you are forced to keep the tokens, which is why being able to play cards like this and Delusion can get rid of those tokens, meaning you can keep one of your boss monsters on board. The reason we play the Ibli is it has a really nice kind of effect that level 9 monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If the total link ratings of the monsters on the field is 8 or more, quick effect, you get to special on this card from the hand. If this card is special summoned while your opponent controls more Link Monsters than you do, which 9 times out of 10 they will do, you get to send all Link Monsters on the field to the graveyard. So it's a nice way of basically clearing out a Link board. Less so effective on that one, it's just a nice way of being able to protect your level 9s from being destroyed by card effect, but sometimes that additional effect will come up, so just make sure you're aware of it. We do have other monsters as well, but I'm pretty much going to go through the generator cards and then I'll go through the other cards as well. So we've got Treble Boss Stage. So as I've said, once per turn if a card or cards is added, now keep in mind it's a soft once per turn to special summon out a generator from the deck. You get to special summon a generator monster from the deck in defense. If you special summon a generator monster or monsters during your opponent's turn, except during the damage step, you get to special summon as many generator tokens, fairy level 4, as possible in attack position, big downside, but destroy them during the end phase. If this card, even if this card leaves the field. So even if they get rid of this, the tokens still get destroyed. The issue is, by putting these all in attack, they're all 1500, come and attack me. But with Lopta, you put them up to 2500, which is really nice. I kind of understand why these have to go, because if you basically spawned your board with 4 of these, and then were able to attack next turn at these with 2500, would be mental. Terraforming to get to that. And then we've got the one Boss Quest. So this one you reveal a generator in your hand, and if you do, you add 2 generators, spell or traps with different names from each other from the deck to the hand except itself. So the ones you can search is Boss Stage, Boss Room, and Boss Fight, which is why we're only playing 1s of these. You kind of want to make sure you're getting the 2 is up to 2, but you want to get the 2 to get the maximum value. Boss Fight is activate a generator field spell directly from your deck or graveyard, and then your opponent draws 1 card, so obviously that will trigger the effect of the boss stage to spawn with tokens and a generator. And then Boss Room is when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of a generator card or effect, you get to discard 1 card, and your opponent's activated effect becomes each player draws a card. So that's a way of how you can trigger the boss stage again. But it's nice to be able to kind of play around Ash a little bit as well. Not to mention any other effects like imperms that they try and trigger to negate your other boss monsters. Then the last kind of card, which is again an honorary generator card, is basically World Legacy Monstrosity. So it's a quick play effect that allows you to special summon a level 9 monster from your hand, or you get to target a level 9 monster you control, special summon from your deck 2 level 9 monsters, each with different original types and attributes from the face-up monster you targeted, with different names as well from each other. They cannot attack, and they destroy during the end phase. But the idea is, off of the combo with Diviner of the Herald, which I'll show you at the end of the video, it's basically a 1 card, or like if you add this to it, it's a 2 card combo to give you a Baron, plus a rank 9 of your choosing, which ideally is going to be your Boss of Shadows. So carrying on, the other cards we play is the Triple Diviner of the Herald. So this is like your main normal summon of the deck. Lopta is your other one, but with Diviner of Herald, what this gives you the ability to is to Foolish Burial either the Valor, which is your Generator Fairy monster, or it can Foolish Burial the Trias. Your Trias tributes this, and by tributing off the Diviner, you get to special summon out the button. And by special summon out the button, you've got the ability to go straight into a level 10 Synchro. So that's where the synergy comes and keeps you going. Then these next 9 cards, they are pretty much interchangeable depending on whether you want to make this build a control build or have the balance of going second. And that is, of course, Hand Traps of Nibiru, Ash, and Imperm. If you want to make this more control, you do have the ability of stuff like Skill Drain, Summon Limit. You can't really play There Can Only Be One because, of course, your tokens are all the same type. But you can also be playing other type of Floodgates. You can play other board breakers if you want to. Like, you could main deck Lava Golem, ideally, instead of playing something like Diviner of the Herald. So it gives you a couple of different options that you want to play around with. And the last card for consistency, of course, is Triple Pot of Prosperity. You could play extra if you want to, but because we're playing the Diviner route, you kind of need to be able to control your extra deck as much as you possibly can, because you don't want to be banishing all of your copies, and no one really wants to be playing 3 Barons in a Generator deck, because that's just mental. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, we've got 2 of the brand new Generator Boss of Shadows. So this card is absolutely insane. 2+ level 9 monsters, and you can only control 1 of it. Monsters your opponent controls lose an 1000 attack and defense as a general continuous effect. As a quick effect, you contribute this XYZ card, special summon 1 non-fairy generator XYZ monster from your extra deck. Then you can attach cards from any field and or graveyards to that special summon monster as material, up to the number of materials this card had. Now this one, 9 out of 10, you're probably going to have 2 materials. So what you're going to do is you're going to tag her out and you're going to go straight into Yugioh. And with Yugioh, you'll have the ability to basically attach 2 more materials, making it a base attack of 2k. So, for those of you that don't know what Yugioh does, so this card's original attack and defense is 1000 times the number of materials. It has the quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card. Each player draws a card, then each player that drew attaches 1 card from their hand to this card or the field to this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So the idea is you detach material, it goes up by a K every single time because it will be attaching materials. And that's where, of course, it comes in so good with the other Boss of Shadows, is the fact that it tags out into this very easily, instantly allows you to have basically a Call by the Grave effect, or forces your opponent to give you one of their monsters to attach it as material. Then we just play generic rank 9, so you've got the 9 Lives Cat, the Sacred Tree, Hyperion, the Phantom Fortress, Enter Blafnir, and Earth Slicer. And then, of course, for the other XYZs, we are playing Divine Zeus. So we've got 2 of these. Just being able to slap a Zeus. Like, so if you activate Yugioh during your opponent's turn, you attach 1, so it's on 3k, it's 3 materials. You detach another 1, it goes up to 4. When it comes back to your turn, you'll be on 4k, so it'll be a Yugioh with 4 materials. Attack with Yugioh and then go into a Zeus, and then straight away you've got a Zeus with 5 materials. If you summon this first turn, then you're going to be boosting it up even more. It just becomes stronger and stronger, and then you've got like a fat stack Zeus. Then moving on to the Ling Monsters, so we've got the 1 World Gears of Demiurge. So this one is so good. So it requires 3 level 5 or higher monsters specifically. It cannot be used as Link material. The Link Summon card is unaffected by other monster effects, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, if you control this card that was Link Summoned using 3 monsters that had 3 different types and attributes, which is very easy to do with this deck, you get to destroy all other cards on the field. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters from the extra deck except during the damage step, you can special summon a World Legacy monster from the deck. Now, obviously, the second effect is irrelevant, but it's the fact that it is just an insane boss monster that can nuke the board. Alongside him, for the Link Monsters, we do have the BLS, we do have the Nightmare Unicorn, and we've got Nightmare IP Masquerina, and then, of course, the 1 Baron de Fleur. Now, you can change this up. You can add in any other level 10 that you want. So you can go for the aggressive Sovereign from Sword Souls. That will then give you a very nice power push. So you've got an aggressor and a defender with Baron and him. Alternatively as well, there are ways of playing Dark to go into access code. I've seen people put more multiples of stuff in here. You can go for other synchro routes if you want to as well, but the consistency kind of drops down a little bit, as the most consistent factor you will be doing with a deck like this is going into level 10s. You could also play stuff like Elder Entity Ints that can be sent off of the Diviner, because then by doing that, if you normal summon a Lopta, that's another route into a Synchro level 10 as well. But ideally, when you put a Lopta on the board, you kind of want to be tagging that out to get into your own Generator monster. And that is it. So this profile was like highly requested from you guys when I put the poll out. So I was like, you know what, I'll do this in reverse order. I'll do Generators first, and then I'll start doing all of the others that have been requested, just so you guys can kind of see. And I've been waiting to update this deck for a while now. I really do enjoy it. It's like one of the first ones. Like I remember taking this to one of my regionals, and just no one had any idea of what this deck was doing or how it played, anything like that. And it was actually really, really fun to kind of play with. So yeah, I really enjoy this deck. It is one of them kind of old cliches of you just have too many high level monsters. That is the issue. And I think that's where they've tried to fix it with something like Valor. In order to kind of mean that even if you do have high level monsters, you're able to kind of get them to the board, spawn them, and still produce the plays you want to. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, please, by all means, put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. However, for now, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.